Hi everyone, I'm preparing a series of videos on how to modify your espresso machine to deliver the same quality that a prosumer one. It's going to be written in a blog format. I'll leave the link in the description. You will also have a list of components and tools that you may need, and also a very comprehensive step-by-step procedure, security measures, points of attention. Today I'm going to start with the dimmer that allows you to control the flow and pressure in your espresso during the extraction. You will also be able to make flow profile or pressure profile if you install the second mod, that is the pressure gauge that allows you to see how much the pressure is increasing or decreasing during the extraction. And the third one will be the PID that allows you to control the temperature very precisely with much better stability than the thermostat that is activated only when the temperature increases or decreases by like 10 degrees. The PID will start actuating with 1 degree difference. But I'm also planning to install the Gaggia mod in the Sylvia and in a Gaggia, and compare the two. I don't know how long it will take for me to make those modifications. And if you're interested, just subscribe to receive the notifications. Why I'm doing this? It's because I'm answering lots of questions on how to install those components, lots of doubts on specs. So I decided to make a list of everything. I checked the specs, I put in a database, and it's available in the website that you can see in the description, right? So let's start with the first one, and in the next videos I'll show the others. This is a very comprehensive video. It's long, but I wanted to show every detail that someone that has no familiarity at all with electricity to be comfortable to make the modifications by himself or herself. I'm putting timestamps, and if you are familiar with some basic stuff like how to open a machine, security measures, or how to use a multimeter, you can jump to the other sections, and I hope I could show you how to do that. And if not, just leave your doubts in the comments that I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge. And I also need to reinforce that all the modifications that you're making is at your own risk, okay? I'm trying to give you the information that I have, to the best of my knowledge, but in the end, I cannot supervise you, I cannot see what you're doing. Okay, so first thing that we are going to do is to unplug the machine. Then we're going to remove the drip tray and the water reservoir. Be very careful with the hoses. This water cannot leak into the electrical parts, right? I usually use a clog and a rubber band or a string. Let me get one. So small rubber band to avoid the leaks. And I'll remove the water reservoir. And now, what I need is to remove the top panel. For Ranchillo Sylvia, you need just a Phillips screwdriver. Water here. I don't want this water to fall into the machine. Oops. And here we go. Those are the accidents that we want to prevent. We don't want water inside the machine. Let me redo this. It's a a pretty one. I'm using this clip to help to hold it, but let's see. Now removing the top panel. We need to remove 2 screws here. They are, in my case, Phillips. I use 1 bit, it's tiny one that will fit into this space. I could use a ratchet, but let's keep it simple for now. It's not difficult if it's not too tight. Be careful not to lose your screws. Now I need to open a bit here because there's a panel inside that will hold it. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so this is a back panel, and here we have the pump. Okay, now we have access to the pump. So this is the vibratory pump, and these are the connectors that will make it work. So what we are gonna do here is I want to test if there is energy coming to this pump when I activate the extraction button or the water button, so that I know which of those wires I want to maybe split and put the dimmer in between. I don't know if it's this one or this one, right? So how can I do that? The best way, in my opinion, is to use a multimeter. You just plug the probes, the black in the comb, the red in the ohms. You cannot plug just here, that is for the ammeter. Now you have 2 options. Either you put it in the continuity test, so you will see the number 1 when there's no connection between the 2 points that you're testing, or 0 or close to 0 and a sound when it is connected. The other option is to put in resistance mode, largest scale possible. This one is 2 mega ohms, and then you will also see the number 1 or 0 or very close to 0, right? So what I'm gonna do to test it, I want to know if the electricity is flowing straight to one of those poles, or if only when the power button, the extraction button or the water button is activated. I'm going to test for both ends. So I'll remove one of the wires. Then I'm going to put one of the probes in one of the pins. The other one, the wire that I just removed. It is showing 1. Now I turn the machine on is still showing 1, so it's not connected. Now I activated the extraction button. It shows 0, so when I activate this button, the energy goes through to the pump. Let's check the other one now. So I'm gonna put in the left pin. Removed the other probe. Remove the other wire, the other connector, and let's test it. Same thing. Showing 1. Power on, and we have energy coming through. So this is not the wire that I want to use, because the dimmer will be will have energy passing through when the machine is on already, but I want only when I'm using the pump. So let me put it back, and now I know that I'm gonna use the white wire, right? How do you install the dimmer? You have two options. We can cut this wire here, and then each of the sides will have to go to the dimmer. So this is the dimmer, right? We have two pins that we are gonna use here, between the middle. The first one, it's difficult to see here, but when you buy a dimmer, you will see that there is a in and out. Those two are in, and those two are out. The in needs to come from the button. The out needs to go to the pump. You need to split the wire and connect those wires here. Of course, it's a bit short, and then you will need 2 wires and the connectors. Where we are gonna place this dimmer? Well, it's up to you. You can make a hole and put it on the side of the machine. It will be fixed internally, like this. We don't have much space on this side. You can put it here, but in my case, I already installed a SSR for the PID. I can put it down here. I won't be able to show you now, but yeah, I can put it in here, but I need to make a hole in the panel. This will make the dimmer to be installed internally, and I'll have only the dial out of the machine. It's an elegant solution, but you can also use a box, an enclosure, and you install it externally, like this. Right? Let me show you a second way to do this. I like to use those Spade and Piggyback connectors. You have the female, you have the Piggyback, and here's the male. Male, you have a male, female, and the Piggyback connector. How you're gonna make these connections? So here I have a 1 meter wire. It's a 16 AWG, about 1.5 millimeters, square millimeters. I'll use 50 centimeter, and you can crimp with this crimper tool, There's also a cutter here. You can also use this one. And what I like in this crimping tool is that you can stripe it very easily without damaging internally, right? This is the part where the electricity is conducted, and if you lose a few of those wires, you have less metal to conduct the energy. Not advisable, especially in high power. That's why you need a thicker wire, right? If you don't have this specific tool, you may use maybe a simple wire cutter to remove the silicone cap. The problem is you may damage the wire, right? Okay, here I lost, I don't know if you can see, I lost one little big thin wire. That's not advisable. Now let's connect. So this one is the in and this is the out. You just unscrew so that you have some space here. You can put the wire straight inside the connectors here. You don't need this fork connector if you don't want to. I have it. I think it is convenient. I think it is easier because you don't have to twist and put inside. Let me show you an example how convenient it is. Let me get another wire. So this is just for demonstration, okay? Ideally this shouldn't be used. It's not the best color. So why this is a bit more difficult? You need to put inside. Sometimes the wire is too long. It will be a bit loose. Then you will make a twist. You will bend a bit so that it makes a U, and you put it here. But then you need to remove entirely. Or maybe sometimes you can make a turn. Yeah, you see, not coming. Then you need to remove entirely the connector. And then you drop, you lose some parts. Then you put it here. Then you put the connector on top. Like this. And then you screw it again. Sometimes you lose the wire. And you need to redo your work. So it works, right? But if you have the connector, it's easier. And now let's connect the wires. So again, the wire that is coming from the extraction button goes to the in. The wire that goes to the pump is connected to the out. All right. Ideally, when you're finishing your installation, you will place the dimmer first where you want it, either if it's internally and if you go through the hole in the panel to keep only this pin outside of the case to then put the knob. It's easy, okay? If you drill a hole, you can just remove this nut. Then you fix it inside the panel. You put it back here. Fix, and then our button will go outside, right? If you put it inside the enclosure, same procedure, but the wires will go to the inside with the casing outside. Obviously. Now, I'm gonna make a test, and this is a part that you should be careful. Okay, so now this is the part that you need to be very, very careful, because the machine is open, right? You will plug it and you may have an accident, right? So let me do it. Machine is off. Oh, forgot to put the hose back into the water reservoir. I need some water to make this test. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn on the pump and I'll change the adjustment here in the dial. Machine is on. Extraction. Very low volume. There's no water running. Now I'm dialing, increasing the power. Noise is changing. And you can see the water flowing. More water, less water. More water, less water. And that's it. It's working. Now we can unplug the machine first and then close it and install also the enclosure for the PA, for the dimmer. Again, I don't want to have water inside any of the electrical parts. So let's put the cloth back here. I like to keep the power cord on the bench because I know that it's unplugged. Okay, so let's disconnect. All right. Now I'm going to remove this panel because I want to pass the wire through the back of this panel. There's a space here. Let me show you. There's a space here through where you can bring the wires outside. Let's see if I don't need to remove the panel. No need to. So I'm gonna pass the wires here from the back to the front. And now you can close the machine again. This is a very cheap ratchet that you buy on AliExpress, and you can just put a bit here, and it's much easier to close your machine. Do you need this? No. So in a very tight space like this, yes, it's very helpful. All right, the other side now. Remember that this side here is where the hose goes. So this is the right side. That's in the hose. Fill the hole. Fit nicely. Water reservoir back. The hoses can go back now. This end goes right on the bottom. This is the return from the OPV. It doesn't need to go to the bottom, okay? But make sure that this end, the longer one, goes right on that corner. Let's focus. Yeah, right on the bottom. That's gonna make it stable, fixed, and you will be able to drain all the water from your reservoir, right? Okay, now we have these two wires here to connect to the dimmer inside the enclosure. If I need, I can just push a bit more wire outside to make it easier the installation, and I put it back afterwards. I'm not connecting now. I'll first print the enclosure and then I'll install maybe here. Yeah. No. In this position, I think. It took some time because I tried some different versions. So this one here, for example, I was using some screws to close the box, but I don't think it is practical, right? You would have to buy some M2 screws. Then I tried to make something that you can just slide the lid to close it, but the position was wrong. So this is the third one. I'm just gonna put the dimmer inside, fix it, and close the lid. First thing that I need to do is to pass the connectors inside the lid. Now you need to remember what is the correct wire. I always recommend to identify the wires. I forgot to do it, but I'm a bit lucky today because I remember that the longer wire was the one connected to the extraction button, and the shorter one was connected to the pump. So this is the in, this is the out. Now I'm gonna bend a little bit the connectors so that they can fit inside the, oops. Let's check. Okay. So now let's see, which is the version, this one. I'm gonna pass, yeah, it has it inside. the box. Now I'm gonna put the nut. Okay, adjusted. And I also made this little, oops, yeah, the wire's too short here. Let's see if I have a bit more. No. Okay, so bed design should be here. So 50 centimeters for this machine was short. I have to open it and fix it again. Okay, so only for demonstration purposes I extended a bit the wire. Now I'm gonna pass this connector here. Alright, it's closed. And now this should fix it here. The wire that is in excess. Don't worry with this temporary installation, it will not last for long. I just made it for demonstration on how to install the dimmer, but I'm gonna remove the dimmer, the PID, and I'm gonna install the Arduino to check if there is any improvement in performance compared to a PID, or if it's just the convenience of having automatic dosing, automatic pressure, automatic profile, a screen to observe what is happening. Okay, and then now you can improve the finishing with a black sleeve or something, right here. Or another version that I'm gonna make available is without this fixing, and then you can just use the double face tape and put it in a more convenient place. This one I'll also make available, but it was more for demonstration. So now let's turn it on and see if it's working. Alright, machine is turned on, extraction button. And it's working. You can see that this machine has already a PID. It's installed for other tests that I'm making, but I will also show how to install the PID in another video. And all the links to components, tools, the 3D printed models that I'm using will be in the description. Also with the link to the website where I have step-by-step instructions in written so that you can print, put it at your side and follow all the checklists that I made, security measures, procedures, what you do first and next, points of attention and other hints, as well as the link to the components that I also check at these specs. People ask me, does it work in 110 volts? Does it work in 220? So I checked everything, and the links for the right components are in the description, in the list that I have in this website. And last but not least, I just bought a Gaggia Classic second-hand 2006 before the acquisition by Philips Saeco, And the access is even easier than in the Ranchilla Silvia. You just need to remove two screws that are here and here. Disconnect the ground that will be attached to the lid, to the top panel, and then you will do the same procedure. There are easier ways to make the connection. Okay, this is something that I forgot to mention. You don't need to remove the connector here to split the wire. You may find where the wire comes from the buttons, and then you make a connection here. Alright, parenthesis closed, too much information. If you have any doubts, please leave in the comments. I'll try to answer as soon as possible and to the best of my knowledge. And thanks for watching.